Hello and welcome. My name is Jody Lynn Craven, founder of Abundance Consciousness, and this is my dear friend, Heather Marie.
Hi, I'm Heather Marie, founder of Soulgate. Welcome to Channel Squared, where we have extraordinary channeled conversations about everyday life topics. Every week, we choose a topic, connect with you, the divine, and our guides, and then we channel here for you live.
Yes, we do. And today, our episode is all about how you can create the hologram of your dreams. So, what does that mean? Is everything that we're seeing a hologram? And if so, what can we do to make a better hologram or one that's more in alignment with our greatest desires? This is a really big topic. Hey, Heather.
It sure is. It sure is. And when we were talking about this, leading up to this live episode, the language that we were using can sound like some other things that show up in spirituality, like manifestation. And this is not a conversation about manifestation. This is about probably more perception than manifestation, wouldn't you say?
Yes. Well, I think there's a lot of different directions that we could go. And that being said, I think a lot has to do, like the way that we're experiencing our world right now has to do with how we're responding to it, our perception of the said thing that is creating either a good experience or maybe one that we don't particularly like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Indeed. Okay. So I think we should start off with some basics because these are questions that I've had before, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers are asking the same questions. We're going to channel, we've got our guides queued up. But some things like we talked about last week actually just kind of came out of the blue that what we're experiencing is a hologram. But what does that mean? Does that mean that nothing is real, or is it our understanding of the word real perhaps that is in question?
Indeed. When I think of a hologram, I think of a like a computer generated image of something else that is in reality, right? Like that's kind of how those of us who watched, Star Trek and whatnot as kids, we could see that it was this image, right? It wasn't actually real. It was like a picture of what was real. And the thing is that, just for the record, that technology does exist. I've been seeing it actually on social media. It's been
Hologram
super fascinating.
technology?
Yeah. Yeah, super fascinating. I'll I'll try to find something and link it in the show notes after the show. So when I think about a hologram, I think of it kind of like a computer simulation. Like there is a program that is written, and depending on how you interact with the program, will bring up certain images or directions or experiences for you to enjoy, kind of like a video game, maybe.
That's a really easy way to understand it. Is the video game has been created, it has all of the possibilities available, and it's your choice or your choosing that either gets you to the next door that opens or experiencing, I don't know, I don't play very many video games.
Me
but
either.
experiencing that next thing, or that next level, perhaps, if you will.
Definitely. So if you think about everything already being created and already being available in your experience, it's simply how you interact in order to bring about those things. And when you're playing a video game, you're having to play in the experience right now, like this experience, right? Like, what is your character doing right now? And so if you're thinking of yourself in your life as a character in this video game we call life, what is your character doing right now? Is what your character doing right now going to help you to accomplish what you wish to experience within the game. So sounds simple, right? But
Yes.
like a game, like a video game or a hologram, right? It's not that simple, because you're making choices all the time, which changes the game.
Mm-hmm.
So really, I think the secret is being present. You know, what are you doing with your character right now?
That's it. All right. See you guys later.
Bye. No.
So easy when put that way, but not always easy to do. Because I think that there is depth to this conversation, or layers to this conversation, because in this moment, there's more than just action. And that's usually what people turn to. What action do I need to take? And I'm not saying that action is not important. I think that it's a part of the equation, but there's more parts to the equation that contribute to your energy. And from last week, when we asked this question, when you were in trans channel, we asked what the hologram was created by, and I think there was 3 things. I remember 2 out of the 3 because I couldn't find my notes, but your thoughts and energy. And if you want to connect with your guides and figure out what the 3rd one was, or maybe I'm just like crazy and there was no 3rd one, but for sure they said thoughts and your energy. And when it comes to this present moment, there's all of these things kind of stacked upon the experience, or how you are experiencing it. It's not just the action, but it's also your perception. It's your perception of this thing being good, or this thing being bad, or this being wrong, or this being right. There's a lot to unpack in this very moment if you're not having a good experience. And you know what? You don't really think about it when you're having a good experience, but maybe being mindful about that too. Like, what is it that is providing the good experience? Because, you know, someone could have the exact same quote unquote experience and it turn out completely bad. And I don't words. I feel like words are ineffective. But you know what I'm saying, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Less than optimal.
Yeah, less than optimal, not what you desired, you know, whatever.
Contrary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if you look at how you have your experience in the context of how things are like feeling as you're experiencing them. You know, one of the things that we talked about, excuse me, while we were preparing for this call, we talked about how, you know, so many people get hung up on stuff that's not even happening right now. You know, they're thinking about, you know, and I'm not saying, you know, don't think about the future, but, you know, they're like, what if this happens? What if that happens? This could happen, that could happen, right? And they're so caught up in the, you know, what ifs, that they're not actually experiencing the right now. And, you know, or they're experiencing the right now through the lens of what happened before. So, you know, I mean, I see this when I'm, you know, talking to people about relationships, their partnerships. You know, they will be so caught up in how that previous experience was that they can't see the experience they have before them. They're just so afraid that what happened last time is going to happen this time. But they've changed everything about the experience. They're no longer with the person that they were with. They're with an entirely new individual. So that all by itself changes the landscape entirely, right? That stuff that happened before can't possibly happen again unless you invite it in. You know,
100%.
where if they were just present in their experience, in their relationship right now, they would see that that stuff that happened before doesn't even matter. It's in the past.
Yeah. And it's interesting. This thought just came in, thinking about a specific example of this when we're talking about relationships, because I think that this is an easy one and you can kind of apply it to multiple things. But if you had a bad experience, let's say you were cheated on in a past relationship, and then you go into this new experience, and it could be completely unconscious that you have this fear of being hurt. And so, with that unconscious belief system operating in the background and that fear driving things, maybe you're a little bit standoffish, and that creates a ripple effect with your partner. Then they're a little bit standoffish. And, maybe you start seeing things that aren't necessarily there, or you're making it into something more than it is. That argument, oh, he doesn't love me, or she doesn't love me, or whatever. And you're kind of creating it in your own mind first, and then the universe is delivering that within your hologram, or could potentially.
Exactly. Like the hologram has everything already inside. Everything's already been created. There's nothing new. There's nothing that needs to be really discovered or explored, right? It's already been created. The universe is just simply waiting to serve it up to you.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you are thinking about, feeling about, experiencing about, are you present? Are you in the future? Like, where are you? And the thing is that there's so much available that if you could just come back to right now, you could open a new door that takes you into a new room that gives you, jewels and gold and, all kinds of fancy shit, right?
Yeah.
Or it could take you into, a room that is a prison that you get tortured every day.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that if you never allow yourself to have the choice, you never allow yourself to be in the present right now and move through life in the right now experience, the doors don't even appear. You just bumble along doing what everybody else is doing. You no longer are controlling the game. You're now a character in someone else's game.
Mm-hmm.
And that is really important because you didn't come here to play someone else's game. You came here to play your own game.
Yeah. That's a beautiful analogy. I really like that. I haven't really played a whole lot of video games, but I can just imagine when I did play a few different kinds of video games, there's always these people that are like, like in bad video games, they just run into walls and back and then run over here. And like, they're not actually no direction or purpose whatsoever. And you're like, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know why they're bringing up so much about like video game. I'm like, who's the gamer that's watching us right now? Because this is for you. So funny. Yeah, very interesting.
Mm-hmm. So are you the main character, or are you playing a role in everything inside of your life? That is the ultimate question. That's huge. Yeah. And then something that they were saying, or the imagery that they were giving me about this game, is when in this present moment, if you were to actually think about it like a character, what they were showing me is like, how you go through like the menu and you choose your avatar and you choose what they look like, and you choose what like special powers they have and things like that. And maybe like they have an armor or something like that. But each one potentially comes with its own ability to unlock doors and do things like that. So it's in this moment, have you chosen the avatar, the character that has that as a possibility even? Wow.
And it's something else that's really interesting is it's so funny that we're talking about video games. Neither one of us play video games, you guys, just for the record. So we don't really even know what we're talking about. This is purely channeled information here. So what they're saying is that now what if, as you are building your avatar and you are, you have your special tools, your like special weapons or whatever and your special abilities, right? Now, what if there's like a fairy godmother of the game that will sprinkle things along your path that you can pick up and use to further yourself on the path to the game? I'm getting like total, like full body goosebumps here.
Yeah.
So what they're saying is that this is the high self. This is your high self. Your high self is your fairy godmother that sprinkles the tools and brings you the knowledge and brings you all of the skills and expertise and everything that you need. This is the highest version of your soul that is assisting you along the game. Oh, God, I got like goosebumps. Oh, it's
Wow.
crazy. So I think that that's really fantastic, that when you think about, as you're moving through your life and you're having your experiences, there's always someone that has your back. That's like, she's going to need to know how to channel because she's got things that we want her to say. That's funny. So, I think that it's fantastic, really.
Mm-hmm.
So you get dropped into this game with a fairy godmother or godfather, for those of you who identify that way.
Yeah. You have a fairy following you around, just
Exactly.
dropping, diamonds and gold and glitter and all sorts of things, pumpkins that turn into carriages, if you will. And that, you know what? That was that essence of like pumpkins that turn into carriages, things appearing out of nowhere. I think we get really stuck, myself included, where we are not experts. I should only speak for myself, so I will. I am not an expert. I am not an ascended master, and I'm perfect at all of this. That's the whole point of the experience, I think, is learning as you go and choosing along the way. But I think something that's really difficult to wrap our minds around is this ability for things to show up out of the blue to I'm not even use the M word, but just things to show up like created right in front of you. There is the possibility of that. And most people don't believe that that's true, so they won't even choose that as a choice. Like that's not even a choice that's on the table for that avatar. It's like breaking that open to see, okay, well, what is real? Now we're going back to this word. They're commenting on language and our perception of what the words mean. Real, I don't know what the definition is. We could probably look it up, but real to me is something tangible that you can touch. And like, this desk, this mic, whatever, my computer screen, these are real things to me that I can touch them. And you start broadening the scope of what is real and what is possible, and you start to realize, well, the wind is real and I can't exactly see it. I can see its aftermath of a tornado or a big storm or something like that. I can feel it on my skin when I'm standing in it, but outside of that, it's less real than this table, right? So you start to ease off the definition of real and open up to what is possible. And I think if you truly believed that you could create in real time, I want, I get, I want, I get, then that possibility would open up to you. Pen turns into a lima bean.
I mean, exactly. And the thing is I think that if we look at our life, if we're doing some reflection over the experiences that we've had, we would see indications of where things just arrived. You didn't really even need to go get them. It was like, I need a pen. And miraculously, there's one right there. Look at that. It just plopped in, right? Like the thing is like the illusion of real is just illusionary as a hologram. Because just because it's not tangible, does that mean that it doesn't exist? So this is the topic of belief, right? You know, when so many people think, oh, I'll believe it when I see it, and yet they believe in a creator of some kind, right? They believe in God, you know, Allah, you know, the one infinite creator, you know, source, whatever, right? They believe in this higher power that has created all that is.
Mm-hmm.
And they believe in that, and they believe it's real, yet they've never seen it and they've never touched it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Maybe they have, spiritually speaking, seen it, but with their physical eyeballs, probably not.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is so when you look at what's tangible and what's not, how do you know it's real? It's all real.
It's
That's the
all
point.
real. It's all illusionary. Like
Exactly.
it's same,
Same,
same.
same.
Yeah. And even the things like the pen that is tangible for the sake of this argument of tangible, when you put this under a microscope, it no longer looks the same. It's just simply
Right.
particles that are moving, and the way that they're moving has created said pen.
Right.
But it's all particles. It's all energy.
Exactly. Exactly. So when we're talking about the hologram as, you know, a game, right, that we're playing, and we're in the present moment, and we're living in the present moment right now, and things are instantly creating for us in the present moment, how do we access that?
It's a great question.
That's a great question. You should ask. You ask, I'll ask. We'll find out what they
Okay.
say. How do we access?
Go ahead.
What they're saying is that you already have the access. The access has been there all along. It is just about knowing that it is. So let me see if I can relate this, because that sounds very abstract, in my opinion. And
Yeah.
sometimes they give it
So
to me that
what
way.
my guides are saying is this is something that you're already doing in the choosing. You don't even think about it because it's so second nature to the way that you've been built with your body and your mind and your spirit, all of that coming together. It's the choosing of what comes next in the next moment, whether you're conscious or you're not conscious of it. So maybe if to get a better answer, we can ask how we can be more conscious of what it is and how to be more deliberate.
What they're saying to me is they're saying that, you know, it's about the presence. They keep coming back to presence, being present, experiencing things in the present, and indicating your pleasure with the present. They're talking about, you know, pleasure, displeasure, you know, it's kind of a gray area for them. So it's, you know, as you're experiencing displeasure, it has a, it's still energy moving in one direction or another, right? And they're saying that, you know, it's kind of gray area for them, because sometimes the energy can feel very similar, but when you are enjoying something or you're experiencing something that is pleasurable, indicate that it is, that you're receiving pleasure from the receiving of the thing. That sounded like a mouthful. I was sort of here and sort of not here. So what they're saying is that by doing this, you indicate, like you place a little pin in the experience that says, this is a good one. She likes this. Ooh, here's another one. And so more of those things can occur and appear. And it's not that they're not there. They're saying it's not that you're like manifesting or creating these things. It's just that you've opened the door to see what else. Open the door to see what else.
Mm-hmm. You're on the
Hopefully that was
journey.
clear.
Yeah. So what they're giving me is like it's like the speed up effect. So in these micro moments, if you will, whether it is I'm delighted by this or I am irritated by this, it's kind of like, yes, I am irritated. Yes, I'm angry. Yes, like it's the choosing, and then it's like speeding up and getting faster and faster and faster. And you're almost like running towards that end with these micro moments. And they're okay. So they're talking about the choosing, and they're actually bringing an experience forward that I had the other day. Okay. Um, so my husband was in a little bit of a grumpy mood, and I've been playing with this. Um, I feel like my clarity around timelines and the hologram is skewed or distorted, and not in a bad way, in a way that I'm understanding on deeper levels of how these things work. So I've been playing with these things, like changing my reality on this micro level. So he had said something, he was talking to somebody else. I remember the room we're in. They're bringing me right back to the scene, and I felt like just irritated. Like, I don't, like that's the best that I can give you for emotions that I was feeling. I was just irritated. Yeah, yeah. And I could see myself going down that path of like, God, I could kill him. I could see myself going down that path. And in that moment, I was like, no, I love him. He's so sweet to me. I want to be choosing that love. And it was just like this fleeting thought that came in that I was like, oh, I want to choose that. And in that instant, everything changed. He was no longer grumpy. And he started like, he was sweet and like all of these things. And I was like, what's happening?
Yeah, and I think that that is a really great example. And I think that's such a great example. I think that everybody who's watching this should try that exact example. The next time that you find yourself irritated with somebody else, choose differently. Choose to see them the way that you see them when you're all lovey eyes at them. Okay. You choose to see that they are, sweet and kind and giving and, honorable. And this is how you choose to see them. I choose this instead. I
Mm-hmm.
forgive myself for having this thought. I choose this instead. And so I think that if you do this experiment, you will see just how quickly that changes. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I myself have experienced that, where I've wanted to strangle someone. I'm human too, and I've had to really reel it in and say, no, 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 no. I choose this instead.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a great example. So I encourage everyone watching to try this.
Mm-hmm. Something else that they're bringing forward is attachment. In that moment, I wasn't attached to anything. Like I was open to whatever. And I knew that I didn't particularly like that, but I wasn't attached to it in the way that, oh, if it continues down this path, I'm going to be pissed off and we're going to fight and blah, 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 whatever comes next with that. My whole night is going to be ruined. I wasn't attached to that. I also wasn't attached to the other side. Like I want him to be sweet or whatever. It was just kind of this fleeting moment of like, no, 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 I like this better. He's loving, he's sweet, he's the kindest man I know, and he's an adorable guy and he loves me so much. I choose that. And it wasn't even as conscious as I'm saying it. It was a very fleeting moment of no, I don't really like that. Let's go. I know that the door is open for this. Let's go that way. And it just happened. And I think attachments, being attached to an outcome, is, I coach about money. So this is a huge one. the attachment to money. I need the money. The more that you need, the more that you are in that desperation mode, the more you're pushing it away is the way that I understand it. Whatever it is, a relationship, a baby, money, your dream job, your dream life, whatever it is, the more that you're in that lower level energy, the more you're choosing those things. Because if you start to think about the thought process around it and the actions around it, is like, I have to be good enough, and I have to do this to get this, and I need this money so I can pay my bills and so I can do things that I want to do. And then every time you open your bank account, you're choosing this path of, I don't have enough, or I'm choosing this path of it's running out, or I'm not going to have enough, or this is going to happen, and this, and really looking at that from outside of the frame. I always love that you say this, Heather. It's hard to see when you're in the frame, but taking a step back and trying to detach from both sides, come back to a neutral point where you can go one direction or the other, but then it's conscious choice rather than being thrown in that direction, so to speak.
Amazing. I have nothing to add to that.
If you guys are liking this conversation, you got to hit that like button for us.
Yeah, yes. I mean, I think that, being in the moment, being conscious in the moment, experiencing every moment from that level of consciousness, it really does create your hologram however you want it to be, and, one of the things that we talked about, let's give another example of like today. When we were talking about this, we were talking about how, people will, eat things that they are just eating just to eat, right? We were talking about like body composition and how, people who, are trying to lose weight, trying to gain weight, trying to have more muscles. I don't know anybody who's trying to have less muscles, but it's usually lots of muscles, fit, beautiful, rich. Those are the things that people are going after, right? So when you're in the present moment, and you're watching all the YouTube videos on how you can be, fit, rich, and beautiful, right? And then you head out in your car and you go to the donut shop, you run over and you buy some cheap skincare product that's full of garbage, and then you come home and you sit on your butt for the rest of the day. Well, none of those things were fit, rich, and beautiful, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how you created your experience, what you're building in your hologram is, not fit, not rich, not beautiful, right? Because you didn't do anything in your current moment to be that. And so, if you're wanting to create the hologram of your dreams, you've got to be present in what you're doing right now. You can't mindlessly wander around your life not being present. It just doesn't work that way.
Then you're that video game character that just runs into walls over and over and over again.
Exactly. You just become a character in the hologram that's supporting other people's holograms.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know about you, but that does not sound like a good idea for me.
No.
I don't want to do that.
No. Neither do I.
I mean, and I am totally human. I will eat the donut,
Yes. Well, and how much, like going back to the exact same line of thinking that you were saying, how much of it is perception and our belief in said thing that creates said reality. I mean, could you eat cheeseburgers every single day of your life, but if you really believed that they were healthy for you, could you still be fit? I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe if you had the intention of being fit and you were okay with just making choices of whatever your body wanted to eat in these moments, like right now, what do I want to eat? Okay, it's a cheeseburger. Right now, I want to eat, a burrito. Right now, I want to eat a salad. You know, whatever it may be, if you were maybe more fluid with that, your definition of what it takes to have said thing, that fit body, you could change the outcome doing the same things that you're doing before, but have a completely different outcome.
Definitely. And, like, I think that this is me, not them. I think that if you are living your life consciously, like from like moment to moment to moment, you have a better appreciation for what you're actually experiencing. Where when you're so focused on the future and you're so freaked out by the past, you can't possibly see what's in your experience right now. You just can't, because your perspective is being beamed at something else, right? You're always looking somewhere else and not here, not in this like moment. So, you know, I think that if we can get more present and more clear about how we feel right now, and like how what our perspective is on our experience right now, it opens up opportunities for us to see what's possible. You know, if you look at your life and you're like, wow, my life is a total shit show right now, you know, and what am I getting from this? Because you're getting something from this because you've created this. So what are you getting from this? So if you're looking at your life and you're like, man, my life's a huge shit show right now, what am I getting from this? Oh man, I am a drama queen and I love drama. So I create lots of drama in my life, which is why my life is a shit show. Do I still want my life to be a shit show? I know, I think I want it to be plain Jane now. Okay.
I'd like to
Wow.
watch the drama on the screen instead of in my life.
Exactly, exactly. And so it allows you to choose differently because you're actually looking at how things are right this second.
Mm-hmm. And when you take that step back and you look at what's going on right in this second, a lot of stuff falls away. When somebody is really struggling, or one of my students is really struggling with money, I don't have enough and they can't catch their breath, they can't get off of that track. One of the things that I ask them to do is come back to this very moment. Do you have what you need? And the answer resoundingly is yes. I have clothes, I have a roof over my head, I have food. Okay, what else do I need? I need water. Hello, here's some water. Okay, so you have everything you need, and that gives the system the ability to kind of stabilize and start to come back to neutral instead of being in this panicked state. And then when you're there, you can also ask, do I have more than enough? Right now, most people have more than enough in this moment. Like if you were to say, what do I want to do in this moment? Well, I'm excited to have this conversation with you and be with all of these people that are watching right now. I have more than enough money. That doesn't even have anything to do with money, to be right here, right now, in this second with you. And the fears that you had from the past, or the fears that you have about the future, they melt away when you're actually present right here.
Right. And I think that I'm not saying either to completely stop looking ahead. Like, don't ever look ahead, anybody. Like, don't plan anything for the future. That is not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I want to be very clear about that because, if you want to take a fabulous vacation to like Tahiti, that's going to require some planning and you're going to have to look ahead for that. Like, you can't really, very few people can just hop on a plane and fly on over and show up and have accommodations. And, that requires probably a good amount of resources that you would already need to have.
Or
But
faith. Holy man.
talk about a test in faith.
Yes.
But, like I think that, coming back to right now, okay, I want to take a trip to Tahiti. What do I need to do right now to accomplish that? What do I need? Is it that I need to earn the money? Is it that I need to book the airline tickets? Is it that I need to look for accommodations? What am I going to do right now? And am I enjoying what I'm doing right now?
Mm-hmm.
because
Oh,
the
yeah.
enjoyment feeds the energy into that experience. The more fun you have with something, the bigger the outcome becomes. When I was a little girl, my dad, he worked for a nonprofit his entire career. So he took this position and he stayed working at this company for his entire working career. So it's the only job he ever had out of college. And I think that's really phenomenal. We just don't see that anymore. And I think that that's really a testament to his character of never give up. But when I was a little girl, he would have functions and things with his work. And I would go to the functions. And sometimes these functions were, doing community service or, a lot of stuff like that. A lot of it was community based and a lot of it was in service to others.
Mhm.
And I loved that shit. Like it was great. We would go, I would be a little annoyed that we'd have to like go do it. Oh my God, I can't watch cartoons on Saturday. Got to go paint some lady's house, dad, and so it was kind of like that starting in. But once I actually arrived and was like in the moment, it was really fun. And it was fun because I was with cool people that I love. I was doing something awesome for someone else. And it was just so much joy. And everybody that was participating was joyful. Even if they didn't want to be there, they were still joyful because it felt so good to give to another.
Mhm.
And so in that moment, in my hologram, there was nothing but joy. And it was backbreaking work, and there was still nothing but joy. So my physical body, this meat suit, granted I was a little girl, so we all know how kids are. I mean, they just go, go, go. But your body is physically doing something that requires a tremendous amount of energy. And you just have batteries all day long because you're sitting in this moment of joy because it feels so good to be helping someone else.
Mhm. Yeah. You think about the first night that you went on a date with your significant other, love of your life, and it went like that. You stayed up all night, or you think about the first couple of weeks of your relationship. There's a lot of late nights and, maybe really early mornings. And you were able to muster the energy for that because you were enjoying being inside of those moments. It gave you juice.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Like
So
so fun.
nice. So I hear like a potential question. And it leads to like a perception. So a potential question is, how do you live your life from this space? Like, I mean, could you just, sit and meditate all day, every day? And is that what you're supposed to be doing? And like how do you live your life from this space? Sounds like a lot of work is the question that they were posing from a human perspective. And I'd love to get your thoughts on that. And then I'll fill you in on what they said.
So, me as a human, how do you live your life from this space? I think that, do I think you need to meditate like around the clock? Absolutely not. Like, do I think you need to meditate? Yes. Around the clock? Absolutely not. I mean, that's just, I mean, let's be real. I mean, who has time for that? You'd have to be a monk, really, because that's the only way that it would really work. This is me, the human here. So, do I think you should meditate? Absolutely, because I feel like, that's when you receive divine guidance. And if you can't take a minute and have the respect for all of the beautiful beings on the other side to share with you the wisdom that you're seeking, then what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like you're just, dawdling along in this human
You're
experience
just ignoring
completely.
your fairy godmother.
Like seriously, like who does that? So, but I think that being present and enjoying what you're experiencing, and I think that meditating is a very important aspect to this, because it allows you to clear your cluttered mind of the past and the future, and it gives you a moment to be just here, and it allows the information to come into you, and it allows them an opportunity to share with you the wisdom that you're requesting in order to have the experience that you need. It's like going back to this video game analogy. They're like, let us speak. They're saying that, it's like in the game when you go to the new level and the book opens and it's like, you're in a castle and you need to find the princess and you need it. This is like Mario Kart or something, I think, way back then. Anyway, they're saying, the book opens and it gives you the story and the backstory and what the mission is and all of this stuff. And they're saying that in the meditation, this is when you reach the new level and you receive the information so that you can actually play that level out. What are your guides saying?
So I loved that. I loved the back to the game. They were coming back to the words that we use. It sounds like a lot of work, and you're already doing it. You're just not conscious that you are doing it as it is already. You're already playing the game, or you're just running into a wall because you've decided to put the controller down. So they're saying reframing it in your mind from it being arduous or it being difficult to gain that clarity or that consciousness that you are seeking of how you're making these decisions, and instead play with it. Play with it and release the burden of perfection. Because the way that you move, now they're coming back to the game, the way that you move the controller and jump higher, you have access to all of these things. And the joy is in the exercise of understanding how, the learning, the discovering. They're posing a question: what if you lived your life like you were Christopher Columbus and discovering new territory every single moment, except you are the new territory and the world that you are creating through you.
Wow. Amazing.
Sounds fun.
So I know we talked that we weren't going to bring this up, but I think we should for just a second, about timeline jumping.
Yes, I think that a lot of people are talking about it right now. This is something that's been on my mind. I have channeled that timelines are very fluid right now. Now, how does that work with the hologram? What does that mean? Like, are they two separate things? Like, this is just me, the human. I mean, I have channeled different things before, but now my human brain is like, wow, there's a lot there. I don't know. So I think
do you think, and this is me just asking, do you think that timeline jumping is something as simple as opening the door in the hologram?
I think it could be. Like now, after our conversation earlier today, and this is just me, the human, we were talking about how there's multiple timelines. Like you have infinite amount of timelines, and like you're all of them are happening all at once right now. And maybe those, this is just me, the human, maybe those are like strings, if you will. Like each one, let's say it's linear. I know that it's not, but let's just say they're each strings. And each of those individuals, each of those pieces are inside of their own game, opening doors. So maybe when people are talking about hopping timelines, it's not necessarily hopping from one string to another string, so to speak. It's that inside of this timeline where you are right now, your fairy godmother drops off a stone, you pick up the stone, and all of a sudden a door appears, or whatever. Let's relate it to human. All of a sudden you get a call and an opportunity falls in your lap, and you say yes or you say no, or you meditate for 5 minutes and you get the story of what's going on and where you should be. This is something I used to practice in my brokerage business a lot, of like who to call and where to go. That was all intuitively led. That's how I ran my business. And that's why I did so well with it, was because I was listening to the guidance of, as you put it, fairy godmother. So I would be led. So I am leaning more, the human me is leaning more towards, you've just opened a door and went down a different hallway, and you're still in the same timeline, that linear line that we were talking about. You haven't really jumped to a different string, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I think that that's a perfect, like explanation. And I think that this is a massive, it's funny, Victoria says, I went through a rabbit hole this morning on this topic. we did too. We did too.
And I think it's relevant because we were talking about CERN. I know we only have a couple of minutes left, so we want to get this out. Of course, we bring it up at the very end.
I know. God,
I have channeled, that CERN made things kind of fluid. We're seeing a lot of Mandela effects, so things changing. Yesterday they were one way, today they're different. Is this a different timeline, a different string, so to speak, than I was on yesterday? And even like this morning, I had a pack of gum or something sitting. I remember vividly putting it on my table or something like that. And then I was sitting at my table and I was like, hey, where did it go? And then I just let it go and I walked away, and then I rounded the corner and it was behind the book that was sitting in front of me. But I should have been able to see it where I was sitting, but it wasn't there. Like all of a sudden it just appeared. Like, what is happening? Are we jumping strings? And I mean 2 different timelines, or are we just simply opening different doors within this one string? And I apologize for not having a better way of saying that, but I hope that you guys are understanding what I mean.
This is seriously, just for the viewers, this is what our conversations are like all the time. So we try to kind of organize these conversations to share with you. I mean, that was the intention of creating this channel, was so that we could share with you these wonderful topics that we talk about all the time. But seriously, it's all wonderful questions. And I think that, if you guys want us to, channel our guides on some of these topics, don't be afraid to, DM us on social media. You're welcome to put topic ideas here in the comments. Like, there's like a million ways that you can reach us. So, if you have a topic that you would like for us to investigate and present to you here, just ask. We're totally down for pretty much anything.
Yeah.
Except porn. We won't go there.
No. Not on this show.
Not the right show.
Yeah, that's right. But if you guys want us to talk more in depth, because we only have 5 minutes left here with you guys today, we want us to talk more in depth about the timelines and this stuff. Obviously, we're going to channel a little bit today, but if you want us to go more in depth, just say yes in the comments and we'll put that on deck for August, because we haven't solidified all of our topics for August. But let's give them a teaser.
Yeah.
Let's channel it.
Okay. You first.
They're really laughing at me that I called them strings, because it's not linear at all. But they understand the analogy that I was trying to give. All they're saying is yes. I'm like, would you guys like to elaborate a little bit more, or? They're saying that the things that we're seeing inside of this timeline that are changing. So I'm referring like the gum, the coffee maker, that conversation, whatever, right? And they're saying yes. that's within this timeline, this string, for lack of a better word. Correct. And so when we see changes, or we're experiencing changes within this timeline, we're wanting to experience changes or alterations within this time, this hologram where we're conscious. It's like the video game opening a door. Precisely.
I was just putting a comment in the comments. I was having such a proud mama moment watching you channel. I was like, oh.
I love you.
So what my guides are talking about, they were very succinct. They were like, yes, it's accurate. And what they were saying, because I asked the question about CERN specifically, I said, is this something that we should talk about? And they are very open to communicating about that. So I think that we should throw that on deck. Is doing maybe an episode on CERN, what it means, what's actually happening, and how it relates to the quantum field, because it is affecting the quantum field.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
It brings up more.
They're calling the quantum field the hologram. I wasn't going to share that, but I'm gonna share that. So they're talking about the hologram, the quantum field being same.
So when you said that, I just asked the question of when you're impacting or are things, because I've channeled that things are very fluid right now. When they've said that in the past, were they referring to the hologram, the quantum field, like where we are right now? And they're saying yes.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Yes. Okay.
So Victoria asked, why is this happening? Is this because of New Earth? New Earth is a catalyst and a destination. And so I think that is this is a loaded topic. We may have to break this down into a couple episodes, because I feel what they're telling me, they're talking about like CERN, quantum field, hologram, and New Earth, and how they all relate to one another. And that, yeah, I think that we should definitely, we're going to have to unpack this, guys, and we'll discuss it and get it organized so it doesn't come out like a mishmash, so you can follow along. Mm-hmm. And we'll get that on deck for August.
So one question before we go here. So your guides are succinct in the explanation that I gave of the strings, that those are kind of separate timelines, if you will. And when people are talking about jumping timelines, they're not necessarily jumping strings. They are simply within their own timeline, not jumping, but like opening doors that were previously closed, and it's changing their experience inside of this hologram right here. Correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And I think what we'll do, I think what we should do is we're going to label the graphics for this series, maybe with like a little white rabbit, so that everyone knows it's a rabbit hole episode.
Yeah, we could spend all of August on rabbit hole episodes. CERN, hologram, totally. New Earth, quantum field, how they relate, timeline jumping, Mandela effects. This is something Victoria said, humans are becoming different. I have never channeled that, though that has come up a lot. Our DNA being altered way back when, how that affects us. We were talking about an episode about the meat suit, and I think there's validity in that statement. It rings true to me, Victoria, that there is a great change upon humanity, the human being, that will affect all of us. All of this
Yeah.
and all of us.
Yeah. Ooh, so cool.
So cool.
I'm looking forward to August.
Yes, it's
But
going
right
to
now, I'm really happy to be here.
That's right. I always love these conversations. It's just so beautiful to have these conversations with you and everybody that shows up here. So if you're enjoying this conversation, make sure that you hit that like button and that you are subscribed. Tell all of your friends. Next week, we have Judy coming on, and we're going to talk about ascension through the Akashic records. So that's going to be really, really amazing. But before we leave today, Heather, you have a very, very special event going on this Thursday. You can tell us more about it in 1 second, but I think it's so important. There's so many people that are feeling stuck right now, that they're feeling like they're being pulled into quicksand. And that's what this event is all about. Your guides are going to give a beautiful message to humanity for those individuals who feel like they can't quite get out of that quicksand, and how, especially with everything that's changing right now and everything that's coming up, there's a lot of stuff to look at, a lot of rabbit holes to go down, as we just said, and a lot of things that could create fear within your lives. So this was a special message that your guides have said that they want you to transmute or have the transmission. That's this Thursday. Please tell us more about it, Heather.
Well, I don't really have anything left to say because that was so awesome. But yes, I am hosting an event on Thursday. It is at 6 o'clock Central. So that's 7 for the East Coasters, 4 for the West Coasters, and wherever you are, everywhere else, it's that time for you. So it will be held on Zoom. Those of you who are here that have attended my previous events are familiar with the way that I channel my information. I will be doing this as a channeled transmission. It is not just them talking to you. It is also an opportunity for you to ask your questions. So, it usually starts off with, a nice message for everybody who's attending or everyone that's going to see the video. And of course, they know who that is. So, they start out with something like that, and then we open it up for questions. And typically Quinn is my moderator. He'll be moderating for this event as well. And he does such a great job, making sure that everyone's questions get answered. And so definitely come. I would love to see your beautiful face and bring you some clarity and some insight to your life. To register, you can go to mysoulgate.com/quicksand. And it's really just, if you're feeling kind of like you're sinking, or you're feeling like, man, you keep getting pulled back. You start to make some progress forward and you get pulled back. This is an opportunity for you to come get some insight on how to just roll out of it, because it's really just that simple. And so I look forward to bringing you the clarity that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Please come.
And just being in the presence of your channel and those guides, it is, I can't even describe how powerful it is. It's an absolutely beautiful thing. And it's a very exclusive container. So it's not open for everyone. Yeah, I know you guys saw Heather Trans channel last week, but you actually get to be in the presence of her guides and her as she's having the transmission, which is absolutely beautiful. And I love it so much. So I will be there.
Yay!
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 Amazing. All right. Well,
thank you all for hanging with us. We know we kind of ran a little long today, and I am very grateful that you stuck with us, and we will see you next week. Hopefully, I will see you on Thursday for the event. And we love you and hope you all have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday.
Bye.